All right, as promised, we are here to deliver New Japan Pro Wrestling, the G1 Classic or Special. I think it's Special. Special?
G1. It is officially titled G1 Special in the USA, although I thought we were covering Impact.
Why would we do that?
Control the fans.
Because I don't watch Impact, and I don't really want to watch Impact because there's only so much Josh Matthews that I can take.
That equals truth.
Anyways, is this the first ever New Japan show in the United States?
This is the very first show they've ever done not in Japan.
There we go. All right. So this is their first foreign show, their first Gaijin show, if you will. And as if to display that, actually, the roster was much more Gaijin heavy than usually the New Japan shows are. Not saying that's a bad thing. It's a good thing, if anything. But just bringing that up. So
I was just checking top rated wrestling to see if they had any star ratings up yet, but I don't think Meltzer's going to publish those until later in the week.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's kick this pig. We opened up the night with a Chaos versus Bullet Club match. It was good.
Agreed.
These multi-man matches, we're just going to say who won and that they happened, and if we have anything we really want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't really
because they don't fit into the storyline really when it comes down to it.
Yeah, there are certain performances that I remember over others, but there isn't like one thing you can point to that was, sometimes you can point to one or two spots, but I'd really have to rewatch, especially this match. I'd have to rewatch the thing again because this was the very first one at the head of 18 different matches we watched this weekend, and I honestly don't remember a ton. Other than everybody kind of got their shit in and it was good.
The only thing I'm going to note is that I think it was Matt Jackson. I'm very bad at telling the Young Bucks apart.
But you're supposed to be the Young Bucks, Mark.
Why would I be the Young Bucks, Mark?
Because you've been telling me about the Young Bucks for years.
Maybe true? I don't know. Maybe.
Possibly racist.
But they're talking about after they lost, I believe it was Matt Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Going, I have a good sponsorship with Hot Topic. Can't lose on TV.
Yeah, that was awesome. They do. They have a legit deal with Hot Topic, and they will. They have merchandise coming to stores near fucking you. So go out there and buy some Young Bucks.
Buy some Young Bucks merchandise. That's always going to help them out. Then we had Los Ingobernables de Japón, consisting of basically the entire stable minus Naito, who was in the U.S. title match tournament, which we'll talk about in more depth. Mm-hmm. Defeated Dragon Lee, Yushin Thunder Liger, Titan, and Volador Jr.
Yes,
this was a pretty good match.
I thought this was the other way around. I thought the Liger's team won.
I don't think Liger's team won night two.
Yes, definitely, but I don't remember him losing this one either. Oh,
nah, they took the loss here, and then they won night two.
And also, I didn't see. I'd have to rewatch night one, but I don't remember them putting a nameplate up for really anybody in this match. It certainly didn't catch Tetons because the entire time this match is going on, the only thing going through my head, other than holy shit, Dragon Lee's awesome, and Volador Jr. is pretty damn good. Teton's not too bad, and Liger's classic Liger.
Teton's really, really smooth. I haven't really seen enough to really care, but like his smooth appeal is really there. And it has a speed that, for example, Aerostar can't hope to match.
Or Arginus. But the only thing going through my head, because I didn't see his nameplate come up, was there's a song called Blame It on the Tetons by Modest Mouse. That's literally the only thing going through my head, even though night two they flashed his nameplate up and it's Titan, but it's in Spanish, so Titan. So Clash of the Tetons, which again in French, totally different movie. Mm-hmm. That was what was hilarious going through my head the entire time, is this song that in no way would, shape or form, would conform to the pace of this match.
Then we had the first of our tournament matches, Jay Lethal versus Hangman Page. I'm going to let you take over on this one, because you have some things probably to say about Jay Lethal.
Stuff that I'd repeatedly said throughout the weekend. We actually, to let people know, we tried to do a live recording of Night 2 while we were watching it, so that it was kind of a wrestle companion a la Joe Rogan's Fight Companion podcast, which we'll probably try again.
Yeah, let us know if you would be interested in the type of thing, because we'll push to make it work if people are really interested.
We'll probably do it anyway, whether you ask for it or not. But it would help to know that we have a little backing. So I said it on night 1, and I said it night 2 probably more extensively because we were recording, and I'd like to get myself over. But I think Jay Lethal could lose 20 pounds. He used to be very, very dynamic, and it seems as though he's still trying to be dynamic, but the added weight that he's put on to sort of graduate from a junior to a heavyweight is really holding him back from doing that. Like, the lethal injection's very slow now, whereas it used to be nice and crisp. So, I can see where he's going, but he needs to adjust his style if he wants to keep going that direction with that weight on there. Or, I mean, just cut a bunch of water weight. It seems as though that might be the big deal.
It's possible. I think there's something to be said about all of that. Lethal wins here because, frankly, Hangman Page winning wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Mind you, nothing about Hangman Page this weekend made sense. We'll get more into that later.
Not a ton, though.
We then had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Juice Robinson. This was a really good match and a very interesting clash of styles. Juice is a high energy kind of brawler type, and Zack Sabre Jr. is very slick with his chain wrestling, which is very weird because as an MMA fan, I'm kind of conditioned to think that the British people don't really have great wrestling. So the fact that a lot of the professional wrestlers coming out now are these like very, very intricate chain specialists is really weird. But Zack Sabre Jr. is phenomenal at it. He picked up the winner here over Juice. I was expecting Juice to go over here. The reason was, we'll talk about the reason a bit later because it impacts the match later on in the card. And then we had Jay White and Taguchi Japan, consisting of David Finlay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kushida, defeat the Hunter Club of Billy Gunn and Yoshitatsu and the Tempura Boys.
Correct.
Sho Tanaka is a really good wrestler, and I wasn't overly familiar with his partner, Yohei Komatsu. Komatsu? I'm not sure how to say it. I'm rubbish with Japanese names.
Komatsu.
It's Komatsu. Okay. He was really good. I wasn't really familiar with him, but he delivered. Sho Tanaka I'm familiar with because of his non-pro wrestling activities. He actually had some... He was a Greco-Roman wrestler. So I have a passing familiarity with him there that makes me excited for what he can do as a pro wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Especially specifically in Japan.
Looking at his Wikipedia page, apparently he's been in New Japan since 2012, but he's been on excursion for the previous year and a half. So that's why we haven't seen anything from him.
Indeed. So the Tempura Boys are pretty cool. Hunter Club. Yoshitatsu is not as good as he used to be, unfortunately, and Billy Gunn is, of course, way past his prime. We'll talk more about Billy Gunn in night 2. Yeah, not much else to say. I'm a big Jay White mark. I'll say that much.
Yeah, you did keep going on about Jay White. I really didn't see anything out of him for the.
He didn't really get to do anything on this show, unfortunately. That really justifies my love.
He pulled a couple moves that were well executed, but everybody can execute at least a couple moves very well. So I would hope to see more and better things out of him, and I guess we will, or maybe we won't. Who knows?
And then we had the only title change, actually, throughout this entire 2-day special.
Spoilers!
Which well, we're going to say War Machine won the titles against Guerrillas of Destiny again.
Yeah. I wasn't sure they'd take the titles right back off the Guerrillas of Destiny, but they seem to have been doing that with these titles a bit lately. I'm just looking up their...
Tag team titles in general seem to be a bit hot potato.
Yeah, the junior tag, I would definitely say so, but the heavyweight I thought was
the
more...
The six-man never title has also been changed to hands a couple of times over the course of the year.
Well, I mean, the six-man never titles are supposed to be for a faction, so if you got a hot faction, you get those titles, and if you don't have a hot faction, or your faction's losing favor, then you lose those titles. But they had, let's see, in the last, since October of last year, GOD had it for 86 days, 2 defenses. Chaos had it for 61 days, 1 defense. Ten Cozy had it for 34 days with 6 defenses. I don't know what that's about. War Machine had it for 63 days, 1 defense. God, 20 days, 3 defenses. And War Machine has now had it for 3 days and defended it twice.
They're up to 4 days now. That might be a bit out of date. Because it was 3 yesterday. And, well, this has been another day.
Fair enough. Well, it says 3+.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird because previous to you know what? I'm scrolling back up. There are some stretches where they had a bunch of short reigns, but then they also have like Bad Intentions held it for 564 days, and the guys out of Ten Cozy after that held it 120 days. And it's I don't know.
Lately, it's been a little bit more hot potato. This was a no disqualification match, and I wouldn't really say they made use of it particularly well. I mean, there was a table spot, which was cool, but the amount of actual creativity with the weapons wasn't really all that high.
Mm-hmm.
You also have something to say about Tonga Roa.
Do I?
I know you do. I know you do. You were very hot about Tonga Roa during this match.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot. Yeah, like he likes to go into business for himself a lot and kind of show up guys and no-sell a ton. I'm not totally in favor of that. At some point, you're just killing the match. You're breaking the kayfabe right in the middle of the ring, and at some point, I don't know if this is an attitude problem thing or if this is legitimately what his gimmick is supposed to be.
This is legitimately his gimmick, as far as I can tell.
Well, then I don't get what they're trying to do, because it just looks like he's going into business for himself in the middle of the ring, and at some point, somebody's going to knock his teeth out. I don't care who his daddy is.
Also, was this the match where we finally figured out where Steven Larson was, or was that the match before?
No, we didn't even see Steven Larson during this.
Right. It's night two. It's night 2 where we picked him up. Right.
Yarp.
Then we move on to more action in the U.S. title tournament with Tomohiro Ishii versus Tetsuya Naito. This was the match I thought Naito would win this match, and that's why I thought Juice Robinson would win the prior match, because then it would be Juice and Naito in the next round, which would make sense from a heel-face dynamic, as well as that's kind of a built-up feud, which would have been a good place, I think, to take to the semifinals, but they reversed it, basically. They had both of them lose. Good match here. Ishii does some good stuff. He surprises me almost every time out. Like, for some reason, my impression of how good he is fades into the back of my head, and then when I see him again, it kind of brings it back to the forefront. And that happens pretty consistently. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in New Japan. I'm huge on Naito, of course. I will say everyone has to let Ishii hit them spots is really kind of getting old, because at some point it's like, this never works. Why do we keep doing it? But whatever. And then the final match, and I'm going to let you take this one away, because you must have things to say about the All Canada match. Kenny Omega, Michael Elgin for the final spot in the semifinals.
I really don't have anything to say about this match, actually. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. Both guys did very, very well, and I applaud them for it. That's really all I've got to say.
I did not care for Omega kicking out of the top rope Elgin bomb. Like, that's something that this happens probably once or twice a night on a New Japan card, where there's a spot where it's like there's a kick out, and just to me, it's like that should have been the finish. It should have been the finish. Omega won the match, so obviously that couldn't be the finish, and Omega, spoiler, went on to win the title. But then you just don't do that spot. You save it for like a future match.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you in any way, shape, or form. There's always at least one match per evening with New Japan where this one we're pushing to 11, and everybody's going to kick out of like 3 finishes each, or 1 finish in 3 spots that should really end the match regardless. So those ones actually don't really. The reaction I always have is like, "Oh, that should have been the finish. What's wrong with you?" Oh wait, where are they going with this next? It's a little bit disappointing at first, but then I'm always reinvigorated and more interested to see what. Okay, if that's not the finish, what the hell are you going to do for the finish?
See, this is a case where the finish kind of let me down still because it was cool. Don't get me wrong, but the Avalanche Elgin Bomb is cooler.
True.
So they did not top themselves with the finish in this critically. Although looking at this, kind of an interesting thought here. Man, Omega and Ishii had to go very Iron Man in this tournament because I'm looking at the times of the matches. Lethal won in 8.5 minutes, 10 minutes and change for Zack Sabre Jr., almost 16 minutes for Ishii, and then like 22.5 for Omega, and then like the two fresh guys wind up losing in the semifinals. Like these two put their work in. They earned that paycheck.
Yeah, you betcha.
Real hard.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing this many sub 10-minute matches, or sub 13-minute matches, let's say, on a New Japan card. It just doesn't. It's not something that I'm used to. Like Night 2 is more what I'm used to seeing for time structure, and even that, I think they kind of almost short sold some of these matches.
Mm-hmm. It did feel like this was a little toned down as a show, as opposed to the standard matches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was to be like placate an American audience that they don't think is quite ready for the all-out New Japan experience. Maybe there's something to that, but the main event of night 1 was Okada versus Cody Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes. I really would prefer if Cody would just go by Cody Runnels or something. I understand he can't call himself Cody Rhodes, but something about like just a one name wrestler and it's a first name never really appeals to me. I don't really know why. This is probably entirely just my hang up, so it means nothing.
Let's face it, the name Cody not terribly strong.
not a badass masculine name. It's not one that like an outlaw cowboy would have.
If you come to the name, your name is Butch, probably we're on your side.
Yeah, even then I would still have objections, although they would be less than with Cody. This was phenomenal. This was a very good match, which is to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really, and they avoided having like a moment where I thought that this really should be the finish. There was like a lot of this could be the finish, like Crossroads got hit, Rainmaker clotheslines, of course. I believe Cody kicked out of a pile driver, but nothing that made me go that should have been the finish, like the Elgin Omega match. And they did the towel spot with this time Omega coming down with the towel and trying to convince Brandy to throw it in by saying, "I'm not going to throw it in, but look at him, he's done. He doesn't have anything." It was a nice turnabout there, which teases. I want somewhere down the road there to be a Bullet Club Civil War idea because I think that feud would be really, really amazing.
Yeah,
I don't want it soon, but like planting the seeds is not a bad idea, and there were a couple plants here.
My only issue is that apparently they've been trying to plant seeds for this for at least 6 months now or longer, and I'm bored with the whole seed planting thing. And
I think the problem is I'm not.
Shut the fuck up about it.
I think people within Bullet Club want to do the storyline.
Yeah,
but the people at the top of New Japan don't want to do it. Like there's too much money in the Bullet Club brand that they don't want a Civil War. But I think you could get more money in a Civil War if it's done right. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, you just have the Elite, and then you still have the Bullet Club. So what's the problem?
Mm-hmm. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, I do feel like I still want it to be stretched out, but I kind of want those seeds to be bigger. Like they're kind of. The seeds are kind of like I'm holding my fist up, like, fist size. They need to be like a little bigger, like a Brock Lesnar fist.
They're having verbal and physical confrontations between Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega. What the fuck else are you waiting for?
No. Just don't have it blown off quite as quickly as they've been doing. Like, for example, in night 2, they had the Cody holding up the title and like not letting Omega. Now, mind you, this is an example, not really what I would do, but because you just give the title to Kenny was right. But like they will do this where they like blow it off like right away after the heat. Like there should have been more to Omega and Rhodes about the towel incident instead of just this one callback. That's just me. But
yeah, I don't know. They keep doing this on almost every single show, and they're doing it on the Being the Elite channel as well. And just, I mean, yes or no, do it or don't.
Yeah.
Stop trying to. I don't know what. I have no idea what these little bitty seeds apparently are being planted. These are like brutal WWE. We think you're an idiot, so we're going to smash you over the head with it seeds. And do it or don't.
It's not that they're itty bitty. It's that they're consistently the same seeds. I want variety.
It's too late for that.
Could be. I also I would not be opposed to this like just being kickstarted like tomorrow as a complete storyline either. Night 2 opened up with Liger versus Taguchi Japan in the form of David Finlay and Kushida. Pardon me, that's one team against the Tempura Boys and Yoshitatsu. Liger's team getting the win, and Tatsu eating the pin, which was interesting.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Then we had Omega versus Jay Lethal in... Lethal had probably the worst matches of this tournament. I think that has something to do with the fact that I think he's legitimately injured as opposed to worked injured, which, in hindsight, I would have had him job to Zack Sabre Jr. then. Like, flip it up, have Lethal face off with Zack Sabre Jr., have him job, and then have Hangman Page job to Juice Robinson, if that's the case. Because we got... what is this? 8.5 minutes plus 13 minutes, so like 22 minutes of pretty substandard Lethal performance here. That wasn't really needed.
And yeah, I don't know. If he is injured, maybe that kind of downplays my whole maybe you need to lose some weight type shenanigans, but it just looked like, he just looked slow. He looked like he wasn't responsive. And if it's a legit rib injury, alright, that kind of explains all of it. But I'm used to seeing Lethal at this speed now. He's been doing it since I've re-engaged really with wrestling and started kind of following up on what Jay Lethal's been doing other than Ric Flair impersonations.
Throw all your clothes, Rick!
Yeah, so this is the speed I'm used to seeing him work at, just not quite fast enough. That's pretty much Jay Lethal these days. So, I think your theory about the weight is totally part of it. I think it was just even worse on this show. Yeah. It's just, he doesn't use what I would consider heavyweight type offense. He's still trying to use this cruiserweight offense that he's too slow to perform anymore, really.
Yeah, I would largely agree. And then we had Tomohiro Ishii go over Zack Sabre Jr. This was a really fun match, actually. Because talk about a style contrast. Ishii is like... We said Juice Robinson's kind of a brawler. Ishii is like the brawler of the brawlers. And Zack Sabre Jr. with his slick submission holds and stuff. There was some really good work on Ishii's arm. I also believe this is the match in which Ishii got that welt on his arm because...
It could be,
by process of elimination of what the boots of Naito, Kenny Omega, and Zack Sabre Jr. look like. Sabre Jr.'s is the only boot with that pattern, so presumably this is where he got the welt from on his arm. But there was some great armbar spots in this matchup, along with Kimura's, and a pro wrestling match doing a triangle choke that actually looks like it would choke you. It's amazing, because WWE never does that. Their triangle chokes are always the loosest shit, where it's like, that would do absolutely butt kiss all. And this was not like super tight. Like it didn't look like Sabre Jr. was really trying to choke the life out of Ishii, so it could be like a little better. But it at least looked like it was cutting some air off.
I would agree. This was a really good match. There was a lot of good holds, a lot of variation on him too. He didn't just there was a lot of going back to the armbar, a lot of stuff like that. But he also was able to really do a bunch of weird, crazy stuff and a lot of weird, crazy escapes as well, which I was always in favor of.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Dragon Lee. This was Team CMML technically, although it had Jay White on it, who's not, and Juice Robinson, so kind of not really a fitting name, but Dragon Lee, Jay White, Juice Robinson, Teton, and Voldor Jr. defeated Los Ingobernables de Japón the full stable. Can't remember who ate the pin. Do you remember?
I do not remember. Might have been. Wasn't Naito? Was it Takahashi? I think it was Takahashi.
I think it was Time Bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good match, particularly the Time Bomb Dragon Lee stuff. So, like, I would still dig a continued feud between those two because most of it happened in CMLL, and I missed that. So, it would be great to revisit it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Bullet Club versus Michael Elgin and War Machine, and this was the weird one on the night. So, Bullet Club comes out with King Haku and Chase Owens, and usually when Haku's out there, it means Bullet Club is getting the W.
Mm-hmm.
The weirdness was that in the end, one of the War Machine guys, it was Raymond Rowe, right? Who ate the pin?
I don't know. Possibly.
I think it was
the one with the beard.
Yeah, that helps me. I think it was Rowe who ate the pin from Hangman Page, and then Page is getting up into them like he's going to get the next title shot, and it's like, Page has done some tag team wrestling, to be clear. He's been partners with Chase Owens and also Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi, and some other stuff. But he's not really currently in a tag team. They've been kind of pushing him as a singles lately. So to have him go into a feud with War Machine is a bit weird. This was the perplexing booking of the night.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. It'd be like the random scrawny young lion going, "I'm going to get that title off Elgin." No, let's not. No,
it's not quite that bad, but it's not good.
It makes about as much sense as just suddenly, okay, I'm going to do a thing that's completely out of my element, other than random tags that I have with random people. Like, who's he going to get? Like, who's his tag?
I assume it's going to be Yujiro Takahashi.
Okay, that's still wouldn't put him over War Machine. I mean,
no. I mean, if they put the belts on Page and whoever his partner is, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, honestly, like it's not great. Then we had the other tag team belt, the junior heavyweight title belt on the line. Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice. Young Bucks go over in a fantastic match.
Yes.
They did the Beretta getting bombed on the ramp, which looked like it's a spot that you probably just don't need.
Yeah.
It works better in New Japan because they have the flat ramp. But here, this was an angled ramp, and it looked like that sucked.
Yeah. Well, they do have I believe the last time I saw this particular spot, it was... no, it wasn't the last time, but one of the last times I saw them do this particular spot was at Wrestle Kingdom, and they had that really, really long sloped ramp. So they went very far up that ramp to do the spot, and this was definitely a callback to that.
Much more gradual slope, though. Like, it's easier to, it's safer to do the spot on that kind of surface than what we had here. So, not big on that. There was also a really not impressive indie taker. I will give the Bucks a complete pass on it because it was a very difficult one. They did it out on the floor with the top rope element, which that's very difficult to pull off. I'm just saying they didn't. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, Nick botched a couple things in a row. And it was very weird to see because they don't usually botch stuff. I don't know if they were like stupendously nervous or what the heck was going on for a show like this, but they didn't. They did all their stuff and it was cool, but it wasn't quite what I was used to seeing out of them. And that's just how it went for them this weekend. It was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the match, Rocky Romero announced basically Roppongi Vice is done. They had a 5-year plan, and I guess they're at the end of their 5-year plan. They did some of the things they wanted to do, but they didn't win tonight, which was a big blow. But Beretta's going up and going to become a heavyweight, which makes sense because his frame is more suited to heavyweight than junior heavyweight. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm a fan of the Beretta, and
also WWE needs to pay attention that you can break up a tag team without having them feud, because we don't always want to see that.
Correct.
The last time I can recall WWE doing a tag team breakup without a feud was Goldust and Booker T. I can't. There may be something more recent, but I can't for the life of me think of it.
Probably not. They probably fired that guy.
Then we had Bullet Club versus Bad Luck Fale, Cody Rhodes, Marty Scurll, Bad Luck Fale, Cody Rhodes, Marty Scurll, and Yujiro Takahashi with Brandy Rhodes versus Chaos, which was the Briscoes, Okada, and Ospreay. And this was an interesting match for the comedy spots, not so much for the action. The action was good, but the comedy spots were really what is worth watching this match for.
Yeah, I think like the match the previous night for Okada was kind of intense, and Cody as well. So I don't think they really wanted to go full tilt boogie, but it was really awesome that everybody like on the Bullet Club was tagging in and out without actually engaging, and they'd play hot potato with the tag instead of actually wrestling. I think that went on for at least 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5.
Yeah, probably.
To the point where, and then it switched over to back to Chaos to the point where Ospreay had just like left ringside and was out in the crowd drinking a beer or had got a beer from
drinking a beer, like tapping his wrist as to say, "There's, we're on a deadline here."
Yeah, we're gonna do this, and then the crowd popped massively when Okada tagged in, and then the crowd went nuclear when Ospreay tagged in, and then eventually I think it got down to I don't know who got. It doesn't really matter, but eventually they got the match.
It got down to Ospreay and Scurll eventually.
Yeah, and they managed to pull this one off in 10 minutes on the nose, and I was laughing. You were laughing. It was a good time.
This is a good comedy spot. I would have preferred more interesting wrestling, but you know what? This was really good. Plus, there was the stripper spot, which was always great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Everybody was doing Rick Rude's move. It was great.
You had Marty Scurll, and then Cody, and then Yujiro Takahashi doing it, and the crowd's going, "We want Fale. We want Fale." And Fale wants nothing to do with this. And eventually gets tagged in. Kind of looks like he's about to do it, and then just sits on top of Mark Briscoe instead.
Yep.
Also, shout out to Fale's shirt with the whatchamacallit, make jobbers great again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the night where we figured out where Larson and Steve were during the Ishii Sabre Jr. match, I do believe.
That could be.
You figured out where Larson was, and I saw Steve, and then for the Incarnables match, we saw both of them.
Indeed. We were marking out for the Steve and Larson on film all night.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Billy Gunn. It's not a match that's really worth going out of your way to watch.
No, it was good, but it wasn't.
It was better than you have any right to really have out of a 53-year-old Billy Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. Billy Gunn is looking old in the face these days, but still in fantastic shape with probably some pharmaceutical assistance in that regard. But there was an ass spot where both guys got their pants pulled down, and Billy Gunn had the underwear on, and Tanahashi didn't.
Oh, Tanahashi did. He just yanked the underwear down with it.
Oh, he got the underwear with it too. Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and the best part was that Billy Gunn didn't bother pulling his pants back up for the next 4 or 5 minutes. He just left the pants.
He finally did when he actually got Tanahashi properly down, but he waited until he waited until it was appropriate to pull up his pants, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. It went 14.5 minutes, which, you know what, it didn't feel that long. So there you go.
It was good. I enjoyed the match. I don't think there's probably not going to be ever a point where I'm going to go, man, I need to watch that match again. But yeah, it was good.
And then to finish off the night, we had the first ever IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion crown. It was Kenny Omega versus Tomohiro Ishii in a absolute slobber knocker of a match.
Correct.
Fantastic match. Ishii hit Omega with the one-winged angel. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And then Omega eventually did finish the match with the one-winged angel. So, there you go. Both men ate the move.
Enjoyed. I think you flip-reversed that the first time around there, Chief.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Ishii hit Omega with a one-winged angel. And in the finish, Omega hit Ishii with the one-winged angel.
I could be wrong, but I believe you said something to the nature of Tomohiro hit Ishii with the one-winged angel.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. That would be just impressive.
That would be indeed. That would be all.
Which is another example of what I was saying earlier, where Ishii will surprise you with what he can do. Because wouldn't have thought that he would do that.
Indeed. So yeah, no, it was a really good match. I guess if you're gonna level any kind of criticism at it, there was a shit ton of knees, maybe more knees than strictly necessary. But if you're gonna put over the fact that Ishii is a tough, hard son of a bitch, and you just can't kill him, then that's
I am gonna pick at a spot the Snapdragon suplex out of the table spot.
That was awesome.
The Young Bucks set up a table. It was awesome, but it made it's okay. So Omega's trying to suplex Ishii, and they're out on the apron. But it's very blatantly obvious that if Omega suplexes Ishii into the table, he's going to kill himself as well. And
yeah, but if you watch the slow-mo replay, he didn't.
He kind of did still. I mean, he did a good job, but like...
No, he got out of the way. He got completely out of the way. He
ate some table, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, a little bit, yeah, but not, like... It wasn't anywhere near damaging.
I just mean, if you did like a... You could do that move in a way that would make Omega seem smarter, in a way. Like, safer. I think you need to... It's also that's also a dangerous fucking spot, like, which I'm not a fan of. Because I don't need to see someone dead or paralyzed.
I completely agree with that, but in the end, it was all done completely safely, and I trust both those guys to pull it off. But if you watch the slow-mo replay,
also, those tables suck.
You'll definitely get to see that he got out of the way, and it's not as bad as you think.
And also, the tables in Japan apparently suck. They're very narrow, and they don't break.
Oh, they break. It's very difficult.
It's not even that table didn't break. It was bent, but it was still together.
The wood broke, but the metal frame.
That's what I mean. The frame is not broken. Like that's.
You're not going to break the metal frame. What's wrong with you?
Well, don't use a metal frame table.
You have unrealistic expectations.
Don't use a metal frame table.
Unrealistic.
That's not unrealistic to say. Don't use a metal frame table. Yeah. Otherwise, it was a really good match, but I cringed. I cringed a little bit. Although Ishii holding onto the rope with his teeth when he's trapped in the full Nelson was pretty good. That was a great spot.
Knew that, yeah.
That was a fantastic spot. After the match, Bullet Club comes down to celebrate, and there's again one of those seeds of tension where Cody grabs the belt and kind of makes Kenny seem like he's not going to give him the belt or something, and he did. I could have done without that.
I thought you wanted seeds, man. You need these seeds.
I want seeds, but I want appropriate seeds. Like,
you're gonna plant them seeds.
That was a seed that should have been like, okay, and then Kenny hoofs him in the balls. Like, that's what that should have been.
Them seeds.
I want seeds that make sense. That's what I'm saying. I want logic.
You know what you do, Mio? You take these seeds, Mio, and you shove them way up your ass.
Like, for example, they did a good seed. They did a good seed later on after that during the press conference when Kenny is asked about the tension between him and Cody, and he seems kind of bewildered that Cody's not there. Like, he's the only Bullet Club member who's not there celebrating with him. Also, Bullet Club big fans of In-N-Out Burger. Big fans.
Correct.
I believe it was Tamataga was very, very excited about the In-N-Out Burger. Very excited. He let out a howl of joy in the background. So, good show. Some problems, but very good show. And I hope they're coming back in 2018, hopefully to a bigger venue, because this did feel a little small and it kind of took away from kind of the historicalness of it. I believe it was a 2,000 seat, basically, what was it? Was it like a convention center?
I don't know.
It looked like convention. I'm going to go with convention center unless I'm told otherwise.
Let's see. Long Beach, California is in Long Beach, California Convention and Entertainment Center.
So yeah, there. So convention center, basically. 2,000 people in attendance. The Kenny Omega said they want to do a 20,000 seat place next time. That I'd be down for.
According to the Wikipedia, first night was 2,370 people, and the night two is 2,305.
So about probably maybe a 2,400 seat max capacity.
I would assume that it was completely sold out, so I'm going to say 2,300 and they just jammed some extra people in there.
Yep, probably. That probably also makes sense. So that was the New Japan G1 special in the United States. You have anything else you want to add? Things you're excited about for the future of New Japan or something?
What? Your mic completely cut out for the last 30 seconds.
Sorry. I said, do you have anything else you want to add?
Go watch more New Japan.
Okay. That's all. And I hope you enjoyed. Leave your feedback on the idea of the Wrestle Companion idea that we floated. And hopefully we can get that to work. I think I know how to make it work. But we'll find out.
Excellent. Do it. Make sure to press record.
Yes. Now I'm going to press stop record.
I don't believe you.